Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the Docks project, and we're just finishing up the tavern here, pub, whatever you want to call it. Now, I dropped this roof on last time you joined us. We'd done the main structure, we just needed to get a few details sorted out, including this roof. I struggled along with a number of configurations of the roof. This one looked as though it would be the final one. In fact, it's not, but it's pretty close. So I thought I'd leave this content in. You might want to use this roof at some time. This comes from Snappy House, gets this roof, and you can see it just gives the building a nice little vibe, a nice little kind of airy and sunny feel. So pretty much we're pretty good to go in here. I'm going to swap that wall out. Put another one in, turn it around, and that area that we're looking at to the right there, that will be the bar area. Obviously we have an entrance area in the main drinking areas where we're standing, and I will add a whole lot of other little bits and pieces there, but I'm not going to show you in this video. You'll just wait to the tour. So the intent today is to get the bar finished, and then we're going to go and work on the far end of the pier, and pretty much we probably have one more video to go here, and we are done for phase one of the docks. Everybody seems to be enjoying it. It's been a nice little project. Certainly been challenging. I've learned a lot, and this is the beauty of doing this, is that you learn how to use certain mods and how things go together on the fly as you're building. So it's been good. So the only thing left to do here is really what I'm thinking. I'm going to put a little rooftop area in up there, a little drinking area, a little rooftop garden for drinking. Does present me a couple of issues as far as the stairs go, and I always like to have the stairs kind of sticking out a little bit like that. And one of the best ways I've found at putting these stairs in is to do exactly what I just done then, and then fill in the gaps beyond that, just like this. For some reason that's not going to snap. There we go, it's in there. There we go, and we'll put a railing system and whatnot in there at some point. So one of the things I was looking to do is, as we've done before in 10 Pines Bluff, is to look for a name for the bar. I've already got one suggestion, guys, but if you want to leave me a comment down below on what we could call the bar, I'd be much appreciated. And the winner will get the honour of having his a bar named and there for eternity in Sanctuary. So for some reason the door wouldn't snap on, and I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't snap on. The main reason was I'd switched snapping off in Place Anywhere, and I'd forgot to switch it on. And I think if you've seen that mod review that I've done of Place Anywhere, I do, and a lot of the time I'm saying please make sure that you switch snapping back on. And then I go to put this door in and go, hang on, no, there's something's not right. And that's where the light bulb, I think, goes on, and I go, oh, that's right, I switched snapping off. So if you haven't checked out that mod review on Place Anywhere, please do so. I'll leave a link up top about now for you. And now we're going to concentrate this area in here, which is the far end of the docks. And really all I want to put in here is a little warehouse and a couple of piers there, a couple of boats in there. Pretty simple stuff, but again, all selling this whole overall area as being kind of working docks area for the fishermen and trade and whatnot coming into Sanctuary. Again, we're going to use these pieces from Port Royal, which is part of the Master Plan series. These just look so good. I used them in my Nordhagen build and fell in love with them, so I'll use them here as well. It's a pretty simple little building, although I do make it look complicated. That's just the way I am. I always seem to find a complicated way of doing things, but anyway, that's the way of the world when you're building in Fallout. You kind of make a little area there and realise it's too small, so I will push that wall back a little bit in a second. And looking at, obviously looking at different options as far as roofs, but it's going to be too small, so I decided to make this a little bit bigger. So I think originally what I was going to do is I was going to build a little booth there, but I will build a booth in this build a little bit later, probably next episode. In next episode, please tune in, because I do start to do some nice stuff beyond the pier area here down towards the bridge. I'm not going to say it any more than that. Chuck these roofs on just like this, 1, 2. And the thing about this mod, I like the Port Royal mod and these buildings, it has these really neat inlays for the roof here, right there. And you only need one. It goes both. It actually clips in both ways, which is pretty good, as opposed to the barn tab, which clips in a couple of ways. Now I had been mucking around. I did want a certain look here, so I mucked around a little bit with these pieces here. It didn't work. The idea didn't work. So I put these triangle pieces in, and that's pretty much it, guys. I'll need to turn that wall around, obviously, but couple of beams in there just to make it look chunkier, and then so it's just a very open warehouse kind of building. Nothing much to it really. But just lately I've kind of been experimenting with buildings that don't necessarily have, you know, a door on them. I've been looking at what I can do it having kind of an open area, pretty much similar to the trading stands that I'd done earlier in the build, and just see what we can do without necessarily having, you know, them all enclosed building. So these posts or pillars, whatever you want to call them, are really just there, and I will fall off a lot in this build, are just there to make it look a little bit more substantial and supported. Port Royal has a whole range of windows that you can put in here, which really again sell the overall look. You can have different ones if you like, and there you go. That's a little warehouse there, and I'll fall off once more. I need more exercise. I haven't done enough swimming, so there we go. So we're going to put a couple of piers sticking out, just to give it the sense that people will come in, pull the boats into here and offload any cargo or fish or whatnot. So this is really an area for people to moor up their boats as such, and go and enjoy, maybe go to the tavern, or go and do a little bit of shopping or whatnot, or just drop their goods off and off they go. So there we go. Put 3 piers in there, just try and even them out as much as possible. And then we'll just put the mandatory posts and supports in, so that they look as though they're not just floating in mid-air. And you can see I'm right on the boundary there, so I'm going to have to do some stuff like this and just click it in. Same on the other side. Place anywhere. There you go. All good. In place. And so it's just rinse and repeat now. Pretty simple way to do it. One thing that did catch me a little bit by surprise here, as I go for another swim. Let's go and do some deep sea diving. There we go. One thing now, I'll have to go at the at the boundary there. One thing that did catch me by surprise, what I was about to say, is that the boats that you get in the game, I didn't realise how big they were until I done this little project here and tried to fit them in. Anyway, I'm not going to show you the whole struggle of me doing that, because it took quite a bit of time. There you go, got a couple of piers there. And again, with your builds, and with this kind of build, the building element of it is fairly straightforward, and it really is the way that you're going to dress up this area down here that is going to really sell the overall look of the docks. So just be aware of that a lot of the time it's got a lot more to do with the way that you actually decorate rather than anything else. So as I was doing this voiceover, I was watching that major faffing that was going on. I must have mistakenly left that in. That's okay, we'll just leave it as it is. I'm just flicking through the menus. And this is what I'd sometimes do. I'll flick through the menus and just look for ideas. Just see what fits in there, what seems would be the right placement or the right items for this area here. We will adjust that. These can be a little bit finicky sometimes. To get into place, but they're usually they're not too bad. Sometimes they can just they don't want to place where you want them to. So you can see at the far end of the pier now, a boat has magically appeared, and off to my right there, a boat has magically appeared. Now that rowing boat is obviously sitting at a certain angle. I end up changing that in the final build. My intention is probably to finish off this main area, this main dock area next week, and then I'll give you a walkthrough just to see how the building, how much building it is involved next week, how much time it will take. If it takes a little bit too long, I may do a tour the week after, but we are getting pretty close. I do have still got a little bit of decorating to do in this particular build, so I'm not 100% finished as far as building goes yet. I always like to put these mats down with this kind of build just to make it look a little bit more industrial, and just sell that kind of warehouse vibe. You don't have to, you can just leave it as kind of bare boards if you like, but just something I like to do. Just makes it look a little bit nicer. And then we'll move on to phase 2. Phase 2, I've already done some practice builds, and that will essentially be outside this docks area, and we'll build a little bit of a kind of promenade area without giving too much away. We'll give it a little promenade and living area just kind of in front of us and all the way along to the bridge. But the build that's coming up next week, I think you'll find really exciting. I had a lot of fun doing it, so I really have enjoyed this build a lot. It's kind of combination, a whole lot of ideas that I've had kind of sitting around in my head for a while, in a number of builds that I've done over time, and I wanted to put them together as one kind of fluent area, and hopefully we've achieved that in this build. So obviously it was heavily influenced by Far Harbour, but I've tried to put my own spin and flavour on it as well. I think I've always enjoyed building on the river here at Sanctuary, and I think there's very few other places you could probably do this build. Probably Nordhagen Beach you could, I guess, and Spectacle Island possibly, but there's very few places in the Commonwealth that would allow you to build this kind of settlement. So I've left a little bit of decoration in here just to show you how, just by adding some elements in, it starts to really pull things together. The overall look of the building starts to come together. The overall look of the area starts to really pull together, and it all starts to become believable as far as the flow of the whole area from this end all the way to the other end. And what I try to do as well is I try to make little zones, so there's a kind of trading area up the other end, plus some some shopping and entertainment in the shops and the pub, and then down here it's very much a working area, very much a working area, and the transition through is kind of that building in front of us, which is the kind of fish smoker area that you can use. Very important in your settlements that you have a general flow, and I did do a video a couple weeks back just talking a little bit about when I'm looking at a new settlement, or at least a new part of the settlement, where the ideas come from, and where the thinking comes from. So if you want to check that out, I will leave a link to that video above, and if you're interested you can have a look at it. Something else that I've kind of come to realise, and you know, spending a bit of time looking at what Bethesda actually does, as far as when you're going through parts of the Commonwealth, is that they build things, but they're not necessarily functioning. And so this building here that I'm putting together will end up basically as a boarded up building, but again it's all part of the overall look of the docks. So my idea here is to have something that looks as though it's been here for a while, and it's obviously been a building that's been utilised in the past, but you're not quite sure exactly what it was used for. But it fits in with the overall lore and the overall look of what I'm trying to achieve. So something for you to do. You know, I mean, I've been very focused that everything that I built in a settlement had to be functioning and had to have a purpose, and you know, had to have some beds or something, or you know, decoration of some kind. And it's just something that I thought I would try and see what it would happen with it. And I think it's not a bad idea for filling space as well. And it also sells the overall immersion, I think. So that's my point of view, at least. You might disagree. Here we go. So that's a fairly easy building. You're just using some pieces from a workshop rearranged, and you know, there's several mods that I use in this build that are all very much based around a coastal stroke docks area. So just putting the little finishing touches in with these pillars that have the lanterns on them, and I try as much as possible. I don't put any electricity as far as lighting go here. I try to use lanterns throughout the whole build, and again that's another thing that sells the overall look of a kind of coastal stroke docks area. Here we go. These are good because they spin around as well, and you can just position them like that. They just snap straight into place. And the last thing that I thought I would do is just put a little bit of a stairway down onto this part of the docks. So the only entrance way is up to my right there. So I thought I'd come up with an alternative entranceway, and it's pretty simple what I come up with. It's really just a pier floor like that. We need to run all the way along here to get the pillar to come all the way back, just to sink that into the ground. I guess I could have went in the concrete tab and got another one of those, but that's alright. I want lots of those clattering around because I forget them. I'll leave them and then I'll do a walkthrough, and there they'll just suddenly pop up. So just sink it down into the ground just like that. Pretty simple stuff, and then a couple set of stairs on there and we're done. There we go, single stairs. Fantastic. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. One more week to go in phase 1 and then we're done. Thanks for watching guys, we'll catch you next time.